Mike Tyson is known by most fight fans to be the best boxer of all time. He had lightning-quick reflexes, power punches that came in bunches, and an uncanny ability to keep moving forward no matter how much punishment he took. Yet, his story is more confusing than you may think. A life full of ups and downs, a career of dominant wins and devastating losses, and a life out of the ring that was out of control. Mike Tyson was born in 1966 in Brooklyn, New York. As he was coming up, he had a rather tough childhood. He was bullied and abused by many as a teenager, and that is what fueled his desire to become a boxer, at a time where it was one of the most popular sports in the world. As he grew up and trained, it was evident that he had unmatched power and speed, and by the age of 20, Tyson would become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Pretty impressive considering most boxers hit their prime in their 30s. Tyson would continue to compile victory after victory, knockout after knockout. He became the gold standard of boxing. He became the youngest person to unify all of the heavyweight titles, thus becoming boxing's undisputed champion. Tyson was an unstoppable force in the ring, and at times looked unbeatable, but there was one thing that he could not defeat: his out-of-the-ring issues. It all started when Tyson lost his unified title belt to underdog Buster Douglas by knockout in 1990. Then, Tyson attempted to regain his titles, only to pull out of a title fight with Evander Holyfield due to a rib injury. Holyfield gained the title after beating Buster Douglas later that same year. By 1992, Tyson was famously locked up for the rape of Desiree Washington, an 18-year-old beauty pageant winner as Miss Black, Rhode Island. There is much controversy surrounding the case, and debate still rages on about whether Tyson actually committed the rape, but ultimately he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. After getting out early on good behavior, Tyson wound up only spending 3 years in prison, wasting many of his prime years in a jail cell, watching his fame dwindle and his reputation become tarnished. Despite his situation, Tyson decided he would continue to fight as part of a greater personal comeback story. And by the mid-1990s, he would fight multiple opponents, proving he was ready to put his past behind him and once again dominate the sport he loved. His most famous rivalry came when he was challenged by Evander Holyfield. The fight that Tyson dodged years earlier due to injury was finally going to happen. Both men were still in their primes. When they finally met in 1996, Tyson was defeated in the 11th round by stoppage. Although it was a result that neither were looking for, the fight went down in history as one of the most brutal fights to ever take place in a ring. Tyson kept hitting Holyfield over and over, and yet Holyfield was able to keep moving forward, absorbing the blows and dishing out punishment of his own. The defeat was crushing to Tyson, but the rivalry was far from over. In 1997, the two men would meet once again, this time making history for something else: the bite fight. Holyfield and Tyson were both struggling in a fight that looked like it belonged in Rocky rather than a real-life ring. Tyson became more and more frustrated as he was unable to knock out Holyfield, and initially bit Holyfield's ear. Tyson received a warning, but later took an even more vicious bite of Holyfield's ear, causing serious damage that still lingers to this day. The fight was called a victory for Holyfield, and Tyson's reputation, much like Holyfield's ear, was forever damaged.
I'm sorry, Evander. It's your ear.
Tyson's title days were over, notably coming to an end when he retired from fighting in 2005, when he quit mid-fight, saying this:
I'm just sorry I let everybody down. I just don't have this in my heart anymore. No, I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically.
After his retirement, Mike Tyson would find new fame as a media personality, as he made appearances on talk shows, talking about his personal life, his stint in jail, and his career. He even made it to the big screen in Hollywood, starring in the popular movie The Hangover, as none other than himself.
Mike Tyson.
Today, when people hear the name Mike Tyson, they see him as a celebrity more than an explosive athlete who dominated the sport of boxing. And until videos of him working out and sparring with his trainer came out, it was almost unthinkable that he would ever step into the boxing ring ever again.
I'm back.
So with the ups and downs in the years that have passed, why is Tyson stepping back into the ring? He's an aged veteran who's in his mid-50s as of 2020, and he's scheduled to fight another boxing legend, Roy Jones Jr. Is Tyson fighting against his critics, fighting against his demons, or fighting against Father Time? Can he put together a few great fights at the end of his career, or will he be desperately undermatched as he steps back into the ring, back into the spotlight, and ultimately back into the minds of adoring or criticizing fans?
Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Famous Views.